So by popular demand, I've been getting asked a lot by people online whether or not being on creatine is considered being natural. So if you are concerned about how you can be in top physique while also keeping your health a top priority, then stick around because we're going to be breaking down some great concepts in this video so you can achieve your goals in a natural way. Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Alec. I'm a health and exercise scientist here, and I need to admit that I'm on creatine. Yep, every day when I take my pre-workout, I got scoops of creatine. I just shook it up, but I've got scoops of creatine in here to help improve my performance. And you might be asking, well, dude, is creatine natural or not? And it's a complicated question because the complication comes from the terminology that is being used. So, is it of nature? Hence, is it natural? If creatine came down from an asteroid from outer space, then it would be not of nature of this earth, and therefore it would not be considered natural. But then that begs the question of like, well, what about testosterone? Or what about these hormones that doctors are able to like take out of the brains of like horses and mules and things like that, then inject into your system? That's of a natural source. However, it's not considered being natural. And it's like, you make a good point there. So why is it that testosterone is not considered natural? So in the context of exercising and of fitness, it affects the processes in the body. So imagine it like this. Your body is like a business, and your business needs items to run properly. You need pens, pencils, pieces of paper. If you're low on paper, it's going to be hard to do stuff in your business. So let's say one day some guy comes in, he's like, hey, I got 50 boxes of paper. Here you go. It doesn't change the process of the business. These are just tools that the business can then use to continue to do things. But if someone came in and they're like, hey guys, I've got $10 million, here you go. The business didn't necessarily need to do anything to get that large lump sum of money. But by getting this external source that comes in and just gives them the money, it's shortcutting the process. That money should have came through the processes that come from exchanging goods or services for that dollar amount. So with testosterone, you could be doing everything wrong in the gym. And if you're shooting up testosterone, you're on gear, it doesn't matter if you are performing an exercise improperly. It doesn't matter if you're not eating things properly. Like, sure, these things will help, but you could be doing everything wrong and still be gaining the same amount of muscle and maybe even a little bit more than someone who's doing everything meticulously dialed in. I've seen studies where people who they got their diet right, they got their exercise right, they're doing all the recovery things properly. On average, you're able to gain about a pound of muscle a month if you're doing everything properly. But someone on steroids, they could be gaining 6, 8, 10 pounds of muscle. So let's say they did everything wrong. They could still be gaining like 2 or 3 pounds, which is still 2 to 3 times more muscle than the average person can gain in a month if you're only able to gain about a pound of muscle a month. And this is assuming newbie gains aside and things like that. So with creatine is like the paper, not Bedala's paper, but like the pens, the pencils, the cleaning supplies that a business would need to run properly. Steroids, on the other hand, that's like just the person coming in with just, I'm just going to fund you guys $1 million. Like that's totally different. So with creatine, I would say it is natural. It is derived from whole food sources of nature. And if those are utilized as tools and they aren't things that influence the processes within the body, then in theory, it should be fine. Now, of course, there are limits to things. You don't want to overdo certain stuff that you're taking because no matter what, you can even drink too much water. Everything in moderation is fine. And then even on the note of the hormone therapies, steroids, things like that. So like if someone naturally does not have the adequate amount of testosterone that they need in their body to just function, then like, yes, add that in because it's not changing the processes. It's just getting it to a starting point. It would be like, because there are businesses out there that need funding. They're like, we have this thing and it works, but to get it to the point that we just need money right now. Like we need the funding to do the marketing, to get the people in the business to then purchase the things. And then 10 years down the road, we're fine. We don't need any more funding. So for someone's body where it's like they can't produce insulin properly, they're not producing the right amount of testosterone, like, yes, these are external things that are influencing the processes, but those processes weren't working right in the beginning. So these aren't manipulating the body to do something that it would not be able to do naturally. It's just getting it to a point where it can then just function normally. Those little caveats, those are some outliers. Those are things that are a little bit different. You know, not every single business needs outside funding. And in fact, I even would say that might even hurt businesses because it's giving the false sense that they're doing something properly. Just how someone could be lifting incorrectly and is on all this gear and they're still growing muscles, and then by the time they're 65 and they stop taking this gear and then they're lifting weights and they're like, why am I not growing muscle? It's like, well, dude, you weren't doing it right to begin with. So they get this false expectation of how things should be. But anyway, this was more of a tangent than it was of an actual educational video breaking down the science of creatine. But hopefully that you can see with those analogies and the different similes and connections that I was making there, it provided for you a good understanding of whether or not creatine is natural or unnatural. I would say it's natural, and it's totally fine to take. It's one of the most studied supplements, I believe, in the world, essentially. And time and time again, it's been proven to be safe. It's very helpful with things of increasing muscle mass by having the body retain more water. The physical size of the muscle, yes, does get larger because it's retaining more water. It helps a little bit more with that explosive energy. If you got to get those last 2 to 3 reps, 1 to 2 reps in there, it'll help provide the energy it needs to do that. And there's also been some studies showing that it does help with things like endurance as well. It used to be said that, nope, it's only for weightlifting. Not necessarily anymore. People are starting to see no, it actually does improve endurance types of activities. And then last but not least, this is an interesting one. I've heard mood stabilization as well. People who tend to suffer a little bit with depression or getting a little bit of highs and lows, helps to modulate that a bit. It helps to kind of stabilize those emotions and those behaviors. In fact, that was actually one of the main reasons why I had started taking it again, because I was like, I pair that with a high EPA content of fish oil, things like that, might help improve my mood. And with the exercising and eating healthy and getting the proper recovery and sleep that I need, I feel like it's certainly helped. So I hope that this video is very informative for you. You got something out of it. You feel like a little bit more equipped knowledge-wise when it comes to understanding these things of what's natural, what's not natural. Is creatine safe to take? Is it not safe to take? I'd say time and time again, it's been shown to be perfectly fine. And if you need that little bit of extra boost, try and get that 1 to 2% better, I'd say go for it. Try taking that. And if you are interested in learning more content around fitness, physique, building muscle, burning fat, then make sure to be subscribed because I'm always coming out with more content here on the channel. If you got questions, comment it down below. I will answer every single comment. Challenge me on that one. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.